Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, Saturday today, if you're watching this live, I hope you're having a good weekend, wherever you are, whatever time of the day it is. I'm here, if you don't know, in mainland Spain. It is hot, 34 degrees temperature. But there is a nice breeze actually, so it's not as bad. It's not humid, it's breezy. So although 34 degrees is hot, I've known it worse, if you like, even when it's been a lower temperature. So what I'm going to talk about in this video is this poor, Joe, I think I'm getting to a point where I'm probably not going to cover anything about Madeleine McCann again. And that's the problem with that is, that's how I feel. I feel like Madeleine McCann, from the minute she went missing and before, she's been disrespected. She's been let down by everybody, even the people that should care about her. So the first way that Madeleine McCann was let down was being left on her own in an apartment while her parents were getting drunk with their friends at a bar that isn't that nearby, being left there alone with her two even younger siblings. So Madeleine was 3 years old, the twins, her siblings, 2 years old. So that's the first time Madeleine was let down by her own parents. Whatever anyone thinks about whether the parents had anything to do with Madeleine's disappearance or not, I don't know whether they did or not. But one thing I do know for certain, for sure, that is not in question in my mind, Madeleine and the twins were let down by parents who should have known better, going out and leaving 3 children under the age of 4 in an apartment while you go out and have a good time. So she was let down there. Since then, she's been let down on a multitude of levels by a multitude of people. You know, she's frozen in time, this little girl. We call her a little girl, but if Madeleine is still in this world, alive, she'd be 20, was she? Nearly 20, 21. This all happened 18 years ago. So she's frozen in time, this little girl, and she's been let down over and over again with conspiracy theories, with the police not searching properly, the Portuguese police not doing their job properly, the British police not doing their job properly, and now we've got the German police. God knows what they're doing, trying to pin this murder on Christian, well, say this murder, we don't know that she's been murdered, but trying to say that she's been murdered and pin it on Christian B. Keep telling us all this evidence that they've got, don't they? But they still haven't charged him. So this search has just finished, hasn't it, in Portugal? And before the bloody plane has cooled down, taking the detectives back to Germany, another theory been thrown out wildly now about what happened to Madeleine. I mean, the thing is, Madeleine, all these things can't have happened to Madeleine. She can't have been abducted by a trafficker and killed by her parents, or died by accident and covered up by her parents, and taken by Christian B, or taken by another abductor, and now run over outside in a hit and run. All those things can't have happened to Madeleine. One thing happened to her. She only died once. If she's deceased, she only died once. She hasn't died in all these different ways. And it's like people just throwing out theories, and then they're all supposedly true. But when you look down to the nuts and bolts of all of it, there is no evidence. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video, this latest load of crap that's being talked about Madeleine. And yeah, we're going to talk about it. And as I say, sometimes I think, God, I just don't think I can talk about this case anymore because it's disrespectful for Madeleine. But, you know, someone's got to talk about it normally, you know, and look at the actual logical things that might have happened instead of all the crap everyone's talking. So, you know, I feel like then if I stop talking about Madeleine, I'm letting her down. You know, and I would just love to know what happened. This little girl needs justice. Something happened to her. She's either dead or she was abducted and, you know, brought up to be someone else's child or be in trafficking or whatever, you know, but something happened to her. She did not evaporize into thin air. She did not get beamed up to the Starship Enterprise, did she? So I'm really angry about this, actually, and I'm angry because I feel like nobody cares about Madeleine, really. Even her own parents didn't care enough about to keep an eye on her. You know, it's like even her own parents left her there crying in a room. Anyway, before I say hello to people that are in the chat, I want to say thank you to everyone, of course, for liking, subscribing, etc. Thank you to my members. Thank you to those of you who buy me coffee, send super stickers, send me emails, put up with my rants and ramblings. Thank you for that. I appreciate you more than you know. Okay, let me take the banner off. Hi, lurkers. Hi, Madeleine McCann lurkers. You know, some people, the thing is, with my channel, as with every YouTube channel, not special to me, you know, I cover a lot of different subjects, don't I? So some people, as soon as they see Madeleine McCann in a title, will click in and watch the video. Other people will think, and I hate this fact, but this is a fact. Some people now are like, oh, not another rumour about Madeleine McCann. People are clicking out of Madeleine. You know, they're just sick of it, aren't they? Because they think, oh, this will be nothing as well. This will be a nothing burger. This will be, you know, so that is a shame for Madeleine, isn't it? Because her memory is important. But I don't blame those people. So some people, yeah, that lurk out there maybe don't join in the chat, but they'll maybe watch because it's Madeleine, or as I say, maybe not watch because it's Madeleine. Everyone who watches my channel, subscribes to my channel, there'll be some videos that will interest them more than others. Hi to Replay Crew as well. A lot of people, it's Saturday, maybe people are busy on a Saturday. But hopefully we'll watch this video later on. Maybe you all feel the same way, you know, or a lot of you feel the same way. Are you angry about all these rumours about Madeleine and nothing ever gets found out? Or some people think that the German police did find something. That's why they packed up after 3 days. But from what I can gather, some items were found. But there were some bones found, but they were animal bones. Apparently, don't believe anything that comes out. You can't believe anything, can you? It's like, you know, who's going to actually say what really? Then you've got the fake Madeleines, the people pretending to be a Madeleine. Then the YouTubers grifting off the fake Madeleines, you know, even though they know very well they're not really Madeleine, but, you know, it gets them their clicks and their likes and their views, etc. So, you know, everyone capitalizing on Madeleine. And even I am, in a way, I suppose, just doing a video about Madeleine. But the thing is, I really genuinely want to know what happened to Madeleine, and I won't entertain all these fake shite Madeleines and fake, you know, rumours, conspiracy theories, etc. So we're going to look at the latest one and you tell me what you think. Anyway, I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat first of all. Hi, Annie. Yes, I think about a lot, you know, you just think the case of Madeleine, because it's been going on so long and You know, if you're of my age or even some of us have known about this case from the minute it happened. Of course, there's other people that are younger and they won't have known anything about it. They'll be coming into it and thinking, oh, what's all this fuss about? And God, I feel sorry for them. They'll be trying to plough through all the various theories over the years and trying to, you know, make some sense of it. And don't get me wrong, I do feel for Madeleine's parents. I think they've got their own hell that they've got to live with. And to be honest, though, they deserve it. But especially I feel sorry for Madeleine's siblings, because they were only two themselves. When this happened, they didn't do anything wrong. They were left abandoned as well, weren't they? Alone. With Madeleine was like babysitting them, oldest. Disgusting. Anyway, so let me say hello to everyone. So hi Annie, hi Tracy, hi Bluebell. It is disrespectful. I think it's totally disrespectful. It's starting to make you really, really angry. And yeah, they've had nothing to answer for. So the parents have never even, and you know what? The more I've watched their videos as well again, they've never acknowledged that they did the wrong thing. They adamant that it was just like dining in the garden. Loads of people do it. Loads of people have told them that they do it as well. Well, all those other people are wrong as well, Kate and Jerry. And, you know, I find it hard to find sympathy for Kate and Jerry because they won't admit that they did anything wrong. And they did do something wrong. And it's time they admitted it. And until they admit it, I can't. You know, I don't hate them or anything. I feel for them, what they go through, not having Madeleine. But do you know what? If they wouldn't have left her alone, wouldn't have happened. Hi, Princess. Oh, I hope you're feeling better now. Hi, Lily. Exactly. Just distractions. Soon as one distraction finishes, another one pops up, doesn't it? You know, just to keep the waters muddy, just to keep the smoke and mirrors alive. It is a shit show, exactly, Annie. Hi, Angel. No, and I can't believe that I'm here again talking about it because, you know, once these searches finished and the German police, you know, called them off early, I thought, oh, well, there you go. That's it for another year at least. And then, boom, this new thing now has come up. Did you hear about this? Suddenly someone's come out and said they know that somebody ran Maddie over and threw her into the sea. For fuck's sake. God, I'm so, you know, so angry. So first of all, before I get started, I just want to show you this. So this is an aerial view. And I think this quite well explains just how far away this apartment was from the tapas bar. Wasn't like being in your garden. Wasn't. Oh my God, I could say that a million times. How dare they say it was the equivalent of eating in your garden? It's hard to forgive these parents, hard to like these parents, feel sorry for them, because they will not accept that what they did was terrible. So, 3 children under the age of 5. Let's not forget that. 3 children. Not, you know, no, not children of 11 or 10 even, or 8 even, you know, 3 and 2 children 2 years old. So this is, and I've been here and, you know, I've been trying to explain that. I took a video, you know, trying to show people how ridiculous it is to say that it was like it was in your garden. And how I still think a lot of people do not realise this is the Ocean Club here. It's a walled complex. There are no apartments attached to the Ocean Club. It's just the pool, the paddling pool, the tennis courts, some offices here, And the tapas bar, which is now like, well, when I went 2 years ago, was like an Asian fusion bar. There's no kids club anymore, believe me. I think that put them off people. And some of the people that work there, even now that I chatted to, they were working there that night. And nobody who lives there thinks it was anything to do with anyone except the McCanns. So just to put that out there. But have the police investigated the McCanns? I presume they did. I mean, the British police. We know the Portuguese police investigated the McCanns. But having said that, we also have to say they were not charged finally with anything in the end. They were made arguidos, but that's anyone who comes under any suspicion at all, or it's almost a way of protecting the suspect to make them arguidos, because that gives them certain rights, if you like, that they don't have to answer questions if they don't want to, etc. Which, of course, Kate did not answer any questions, did she? She clammed up. Now, if you were genuinely innocent and didn't know what had happened to your child, you just want to get on with the question, you answer the questions, get yourself taken off the suspicion so that they could get on with catching the real culprits, wouldn't you? That's what most innocent people do. They understand that they have to be questioned and they just want to get it over with, and so that you can then go on. The police can then move away from you, stop wasting time on you, and look at the real suspects. But of course they didn't do that, did they? They were out of that place so quick. Oh my God, the grass didn't grow under their feet, did they? It was like, so, oh right, oh no, we're not leaving Portugal. Oh, they were gone just like that. So I just want to show this. So yeah, so you've got the tapas bar here, and as I said, the Ocean Club is a walled complex. This is it. That's the wall around it. There's no apartments that are actually attached to the Ocean Club. So to get to the apartments, any of the apartments, you've got to go across here, past the pool, to the exit onto the street. Then, it's saying the apartment is there, but you can't just walk to that. There's another road here, but you can't get to the apartments there either. You've got to go along here, onto the road, walk right up to the end of the road here, along the road there, and then into the apartment. So it's not miles away. I'm not saying it's miles and miles away, but it's enough out of the way that you would not say that was like dining in your garden. And all you can see from the tapas bar is you can see one of the windows. But you wouldn't see if somebody went up the stairs or through the door or even in the window, really, if you didn't happen to be looking at that time. It's like completely separate. The Ocean Club, I feel like I have to say it till I'm blue in the face, because sometimes people still say to me, still think that the apartments are part of the Ocean Club. They're not. The Ocean Club rents them out for people. These are privately owned apartments. And the people that own the Ocean Club sort of just, when you go to check in, you do go into the Ocean Club. You go to the reception area here. That's where we went. And when we signed in, I then just started, he said, right, I'll take you to your apartment. I started walking in through here, and he said, oh, no, it's not in there. And actually our apartment was over here. We had to go up here, around here, and it was sort of a little bit further away. No apartments in the Ocean Club. So deceptive that, isn't it? The way it's always presented, as if the apartments were actually round the pool. They're not. So yeah, got to go all the way out here, up the road. So in that way, in a way, if Madeleine had got out of her apartment to get to, if she knew her parents were in the tapas bar, she would have had to go onto the road to get to them. So I suppose it's not beyond the realms of possibility that she might have got run over, or that she might have got kidnapped off the road if she managed to get out of the apartment. I mean, the door wasn't locked, but there was a child gate and things like that, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Anyway, let me finish off saying hello to everyone, because I'll get going and I'll forget to come back and say hello. So, hi Angel, I think I said hi. Hi Bluebell, yeah, I said hello to Bluebell. Hi David. Hi Lily Paulie. Hi Julie. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'd like to know what the twins think of it all. What do they think? I know what my son would be saying to me now. He'd be saying, "Oh, what a terrible mother you are. You left me all the way there in that apartment while you went and had wine with your friends and what have you." He'd be, my son would go mad. He goes mad about all sorts. Because they always, I think your children always go through a phase where they think you're a terrible parent. And as I was saying earlier today, no parents are perfect. I mean, I've gone out and had to a drink while I've had my son with me. Now, some people might think that's a bad thing to do, but at least I had him with me. I didn't leave him alone in an apartment. Never left him alone at home until he got older and he didn't want to come, like he'd want to stay at home. But I'd never go far, but then that's a different matter. I'm talking about when he's 11, 12. Even though you're not supposed to leave them even then, but I have left him if I've just popped to the shops or whatever. But so at three children, you feel like you want to shout it from the rooftops, don't you? It's like, come on, don't people get this? And even when it's been all over the media over the past couple of days, the mainstream media, nobody's addressed that. Everyone's excused them. I've watched it being talked about on all the news channels, and not one of those news channels have said for a minute, well, of course, they were wrong to leave their children alone like that. Nobody. Everyone's frightened of saying it. Well, I'm not frightened of saying it. They were wrong. They bear the responsibility of leaving their children on their own. If Madeleine was kidnapped, they're lucky they weren't all three of them kidnapped. But that's because I don't believe Madeleine was kidnapped anyway. I think the McCanns know exactly what happened to Madeleine. That's my opinion, what I think. They'll have to sue me. Maybe they will. I don't care really, because I'm done with it now. I'm done with all of it. Madeleine has been let down, by everyone, but the first people that let her down were her own parents. So angry. Hi, Tracy. So angry with it, and then they've made it possible as well for all this to come out. All these rumors, and like it's like they're they've almost turned their daughter into a caricature by not telling the truth about what happened to her. That's what I was thinking. I've been watching some things about JonBenet Ramsey recently, and Madeleine's like the JonBenet, isn't she? The British JonBenet Ramsey. These mysterious cases. Well, of course, JonBenet, her little body was found, but we still don't really know what happened to JonBenet, do we? But with Madeleine, of course, she's never even little body's not even been found. I don't believe that Madeleine is still alive. I'd like to think she is, but I just don't think she is. Sorry, but I don't. And, I think whatever, even if it is Christian B that murdered her, Madeleine's parents have got to bear responsibility. They've got to admit that they were negligent. And they're supposed to be religious. They think they're going on to a better place, and they can't even admit they were negligent towards their children. Well, I'm sorry. To get forgiveness, you have to be sorry first, don't you? If you're not sorry, how can you be forgiven? Hey, Heather, we've all been worried about you. Where have you been? Where have you been? You can't leave us for a week, and we like to know what's going on. So just what's finished is, of course, the search that the German police were doing. Don't think they found anything, did they? Or they're not reporting that they found anything. No, could be next week suddenly say, actually, we found Madeleine, but we didn't want to say before. I bloody hope so. Nothing would make me happier, well, apart from Madeleine being alive somewhere, nothing would make me happier if Christian B was the culprit. They found Madeleine's body, they found the evidence, they managed to charge him. You know, just put this to bed. You know, that's what we'd all like, isn't it? So again, loads of money spent. There's missing children out there that maybe could be found. You know, there's missing children out there that maybe getting a little bit of money put towards finding them. Maybe they could be found. Instead, all this money is going towards looking for Madeleine, who, you know, is she ever going to be found? It's being wasted, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah, so let's have a look at this article from the Telegraph just about what happened there with that last search. I mean, you know, I really am angry about this. Don't know why. I mean, Madeleine, you know, she's not my daughter. God knows how... oh, God, of the Telegraph, you've got paper now. Oh, so anyway, can't go to the Telegraph. I don't know why these papers put them behind a paywall, because you just go and find another paper then. You don't pay for it. Let's have a look at this one. There's always an article you can read that's free, so I don't understand why they put them behind paper paywalls. So it ended on Thursday. And investigators spent 3 days scouring areas near the Southern Beach Resort. Where Madeleine disappeared, but they did not detail the results of their latest searches. So what do you let me know what you all think? Do you think they found anything and they're just not saying? Why did they finish a day early? And they had one more day to go, but they finished. Why? So apparently they used shovels, rakes and a weed whip, and they combed an overgrown wooded area bordered by several dilapidated abandoned houses between Praia da Luz and the nearby city of Lagos. They also used ground-penetrating radar and an excavator to search another area around the village of Atalaia, Portuguese media reports said. And of course, in 2023, there was a previous search of a lake near the resort, but that was no results. And that is near one of the lodgings where Christian Bruckner, a convicted rapist, stayed during a stint in Portugal. Now, he was in the area, but that doesn't mean say he did it. So he is a drifter with a criminal record, and he was living in a camper van. And a mobile phone registered in his name was traced close to the family's accommodation on the night she went missing. Well, you know, he may have been there at the Ocean Club. As I say, one of the people I spoke to who works in the bar there knew Christian, said he was around. He was a van lifer, but he said he felt that he had nothing to do with it. And as I say, everyone in that area, they have only one set of suspects for what happened to Madeleine, and that is Jerry and Kate. Right or wrong, that's what they all think. So Christian Walters, he's this guy from the prosecutor's office in Germany. He said, as to whether or not something will be found, personally, I'd remain rather prudent towards the results we can expect. And there he is, the man at the centre of it all. Now, apparently, they were all, you know, the tabloids were all up in arms because he made some comment like, they'll never be able to blame me for Madeleine's red rum unless as long as they don't find the body or something like that. Now, that is not saying he did it, is it? The thing is, they twist things as well that he says. I mean, I'm sure Christian Bruckner is not a very nice man. At the end of the day, he's in prison for RAPE. But that doesn't mean to say, because someone's not a very nice person, doesn't mean to say they're responsible for every murder or abduction in the area where they used to live. So, just if he's guilty, charge him. That's my thing. If he stop accusing him, and it's not fair to accuse someone, whether they're a piece of shit or not. It's not fair to accuse someone of doing something they haven't done without any evidence whatsoever. To literally accuse them of it. Which, what's he going to do, this guy, when he gets out of prison? Everyone knows him now as the person who may have killed Madeleine McCann. So he apparently is complaining that half the world considers him a cruel rapist. And he said he wanted to eat steak and drink beer when he's released from prison. I mean, he was a burglar. Apparently, he burgled hotel rooms and holiday apartments, worked as an odd job man, spent 10 years in the Algarve. So as I say, he's not a nice person. So Kate and Jerry said, the absence of Madeleine still aches. I'm sure it does. Do you think that the absence of Madeleine is something they have to deal with, isn't it, every day? But should never have left her alone, should they? And they are guilty of that. Whether they're guilty of anything else or not, they are guilty of negligence. Full stop, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Hi, Junior. Yeah, I did do the walk. Junior. I walked it myself. It's a vid. I've got the video on the videos on the. Right, I'm going to delete that. Right, you don't call the other chatters thick, Junior. So I'm going to put you in timeout. And I'm just saying to you, I did do the walk. You weren't here earlier. I was showing just exactly how far away the apartment is. So, you really, if you can't respect other chatters, just don't bother watching. Go and watch something else. I don't need this on my channel. We don't talk to each other like that on our channel. So, bye, Junior. And, if you come in and say anything else, I just ban you completely. And that's it. Okay, apologies for that. We know we don't disrespect each other in this chat. Junior's gone. And unless he apologizes, to be honest, I think I'm just going to ban him completely. So, I'm not going to go back over the whole thing that I talked about earlier. When people talk and they haven't even been there, they haven't watched my videos, obviously. I just released the other day the walk that I did from the thing. I've just been talking about it today, for God's sake. Now I'm angry. Listen, don't cross me, because I'm pissed off about this whole Madeleine McCann thing. So, I'm not going to put up with people being shitty in the chat. That just doesn't happen in my chat. Don't piss me off today when I'm already in a bad mood about the way this little girl's been treated. And you also, Junior, are disrespecting this little girl by coming on and arguing with people. If you don't agree with what someone says, just scroll past it. Or just say, oh, well, actually, I think this. Don't, you don't attack the other chatters. Don't. For God's sake. But, what? Is that, honestly... Does that make your day when you go on a chat on YouTube and start having a go at someone? Just don't bother. Right, let's start now with this. So this is the latest theory, and this is what's really pissed me off. So the last thing I need trolls. He's not a troll. Junior's not a troll. But I'm surprised at him being so obnoxious because he's been watching for a while. But I just want, this is it. zilch tolerance for obnoxious people on my chat. Oh, Heather, you haven't said nudges for ages. Gets on your nudges. I haven't heard that for ages. Heather, oh my God, yeah, we haven't heard the old nudges for a while. Yeah, maybe it's too boring when we haven't got any trolls. Maybe we need some trolls to liven it up so that Heather can say nudges. So later, as I say, the bloody plane that dropping the Germans back in Germany, hadn't even gone cold yet. The engines hadn't even cooled down before now this new claim's coming out. German prosecutors have been accused by Portuguese media of failing to properly investigate a claim that Madeleine McCann was run over by a drunk driver. And now I feel like I'm going to laugh because it's so ridiculous. And I'm not laughing because I think it's funny. I'm laughing because you just think, what else can come out in this case? The next thing going to be a helicopter flew over and dangled a ladder down and, did the man from Milk Tray, scoop up Madeleine and take her off somewhere. How many other things can they say that happened to Madeleine? And as I said earlier, only one thing can have happened to Madeleine, not all these different things. She can't have, can't be in 5-6 different things happened to her. Only one thing happened. Either she had an accident, and her parents covered it up, or she was snatched, or it was Christian B, or it was some trafficking thing, or she got all these different things. Where's it going to stop? So allegedly, this is the mainstream media. Allegedly, Portuguese officers received a tip about a British man who was covering up a dark secret about his German wife, because it has to be a German as well. If you notice that, it's always a foreigner, isn't it? It couldn't possibly have been this nice British doctor couple that did anything wrong to Madeleine. It had to be some German or some foreigner, Johnny Foreigner, didn't it? And so it was, he was a British man covering up a dark secret about his German wife running over Madeleine while she was drunk and then hiding the body. So this happened right in the full view of the street, I take it. Now, I know it was late at night and there probably weren't many people around, but, come on. So this German woman ran Madeleine over, killed her, must have got out and picked up this little child who's dead, according to them, put her in the boot, took her off, and threw her in the sea. But German authorities, again, it's always the Germans' fault or the Portuguese fault, rejected a Portuguese request to use an undercover police officer to try to befriend the wife and firm up their suspicions. So this is from a Portuguese newspaper, though, that's saying this. Portuguese daily Correio de Mana has claimed. And as I say, so quick after these searches as well, you can't, there's not a minute's peace, is there, in this Madeleine case? There's always something coming out, isn't there? Always something. Just terrible. Terrible. I'm on the wrong one, hang on. Oh, am I sharing? Hang on. Wasn't sharing. There you go, I'm sharing now. So instead of that, it was decided to continue solely with the investigation into suspect Christian Bruckner, rejecting other possibilities. Correio de Mana said the mystery couple were alcoholics and the wife had been drinking near the Ocean Club on the night Madeleine went missing. It also claimed the couple's neighbour had told police she heard them rowing the day after the 3-year-old disappeared. And she said she heard the man yelling, "Why did you bring her?" over and over again. Portuguese police are reportedly said to have got the knockback from the Germans after urging them to look more closely into the possibility the German wife had driven home drunk with Madeleine after running her over and then enlisting. Sorry, it just sounds so ridiculous. So what they're saying is she was on her own when she run Madeleine over. She's picked Madeleine up, put her in the car, took her home to her husband, like you do. Imagine it. Oh, did you have a nice time, dear? Oh, yeah, but I've got a dead child in the boot because I had a bit too much to drink and I ran over a child, but she's in the boot. Can you help me get rid of her? Now, we know from the world of true crime that's not beyond the realms of possibility. Crazy things happen, don't they? But come on. So apparently, according to this story, she drove home drunk with Madeleine after running her over and then enlisted her husband's help in disposing of the body at sea. But she would have popped up. I mean, anyway, I just think it's a load of cojones, to be honest. Of course, he's dead now, the British man. The unnamed British man has now died. But it did not, according to that newspaper, but it didn't say whether his German wife was still alive. So in a front page report today, the newspaper claimed the German police refused to cooperate with Portugal's Polícia Judiciária in the investigation of a clue that pointed towards Madeleine McCann being run over and the possibility a couple disposed of her body hours later in the sea. In 2018, a British woman went to police in the UK to say she suspected her brother had been involved in the disappearance of the youngster. Anyway, I just haven't got anything to say about that. She said her brother was an alcoholic, and since the day Madeleine vanished, he had appeared to hide a painful secret. And when British police exchanged information with the PJ, a coincidence was discovered. On May the 4th, 2007, a woman told police she had heard her neighbours arguing. They were both alcoholics. He was English and she was German, and she heard the man shouting repeatedly, "Why did you bring her?" I don't really see that means that it was Madeleine. It could be anybody, couldn't it? Couldn't it be anybody? Hi, Laurie. What does that mean? What does that mean? Hi, Jean Bissett Fair. So, yeah. You just get to the point, don't you, where you just think how much more bullshit can come out about this case. I don't believe, and I really am. I'm sort of getting to the point where I'm thinking I don't really even want to talk about it anymore. But having said that, if I don't talk about it, who's getting let down with that is Madeleine, not not everybody else. Something happened to Madeleine. I would love to find out what happened to Madeleine. But unfortunately, you have to go through all this dross, don't you? And I bet the same for the police. I mean, God, how many people have gone to the police with crap like this? How does that make it look like they killed Madeleine? Because the man shouted repeatedly, "Why did you bring her?" Could be anything. So the neighbour discovered afterwards it was the man whose sister had reported him to the police and was married to the woman who had been drinking in a cafe. Next to the Ocean Club where little Madeleine was staying with her parents and twin siblings. Oh, I think that when I was there, I was sat next to somebody who when I mentioned the word Madeleine McCann, his ears pricked up. So I think that means he must have something to do with it. You see how ridiculous it is? There's that, what's the word on that? There's that aerial view again. I'm going to show it again in a minute. So this is a little map of where they've been doing the searches. The Ocean Club is here. This is where, yeah. They've searched the barn, a derelict house, a couple of wells. And there she is. Now, of course, she's not a little girl anymore, even if she's alive, is she? She's not. She's an adult, a young adult. Just so sad for this little girl, how she's been let down. But as I say, in my opinion, the first people that let her down were the people who should not have let her down. And that was her own parents, who left her and two other children of 2 years 2 years old in an apartment miles away from where the parents were having really a piss up with their friends. Talk of the devil, and it'll come up and bite you. So another report, the police indicated that in an identical car to the one the woman was then using, a female and little girl had been seen inside. What, a dead little girl? A dead little girl? I mean, what? So the PG concluded she could have run Madeleine over and panicked. And the newspaper also claimed that the mystery British man had always refused to tell his sister if he had been involved in Madeleine's death before she alerted the authorities. Well, this man is dead now, so we can't have his testimony, can we? So this idea that Madeleine left her holiday appointment to look for her parents who were eating tapas nearby and then fell in an accident or was knocked over by someone who panicked and disposed of the body has been put forward in the past. But Portuguese police have yet to respond to the Correio da Manhã newspaper report. So, just goes on to say nothing of any relevance is thought to have been found, but the German police are still saying that Christian Bruckner is their sole Madeleine McCann suspect. Now, I just want to show you this then that came up on one of the, so this came up on one of the Facebook, Madeleine McCann Facebook pages. And this is, as you come out of the apartment, even though the apartment door was unlocked, which again, why was it unlocked? So not only you leave your 3 children, I mean, they could walk or, how could you leave them in an apartment and not lock the door while you go off and get drunk at the restaurant? How could you? Anyway, this is the view, and apparently from the apartment door at the time, they stepped up to the apartment, but there was a child safety gate, which I'm presuming was locked, didn't it? I mean, could Madeleine, she could have definitely have opened the door to the apartment if it wasn't locked or got out the sliding doors or whatever. But was this child, what's the point of a child safety thing if you don't lock it? Could Madeleine have got past that? Hi, BF. It's just ridiculous, the whole thing. The whole thing to me is ridiculous. But anyway, it's a theory to add to all the other theories, the million theories around this poor little girl. Right, let's just go back again. I want to show you that picture that for anyone who didn't see this earlier. So this is an aerial view, and I'm just going to repeat what I feel I've repeated this so many times, but even regular viewers like Junior don't seem to register what you've told them. This is the Tapas Bar. This is the Ocean Club. There are no apartments in the Ocean Club. The Ocean Club is a swimming pool, a paddling pool, the tennis courts, and then there's like a reception area, the bar. That's it. And then there's a wall around it. These apartments do not belong to the Ocean Club. These apartments, they don't face into the Ocean Club. They face out onto this road here. And to get to the apartment where it's saying here is the apartment that where Madeleine was, you have to go all the way over here. You have to come out of the Ocean Club. You have to walk down the road. This is another road, but you can't get to the apartments up this road either. There's a wall there. That's the back of the apartments, not the front. Your access to the apartments is not here. So you have to go all the way to the end of this road. Then you have to turn around the corner, and then you come in and up to the apartment that way. The apartments, the Ocean Club, I think it's like deceptive, the way that it's been shown over years on mainstream media, as if the apartments sort of looked in on that pool. They don't, they back onto that pool, and the entrance to the apartments is from this main road. You have to go up here onto this main road and then come back into the complex. It's not complex, it's an apartment block. Does everyone understand that? The way I am trying to explain it as simply as possible. So you can't go from the tappers bar, which is how I thought you would, just round here and then up there, and the apartments are here. Go into the apartment there at the front. You can't. So those apartments have nothing to do with the Ocean Club. They're all privately owned. And the Ocean Club does rent them out sometimes for the owners, but they don't belong to the Ocean Club. They belong to private owners who use the Ocean Club just to, so people can go and book in, pay their money or whatever, years before you could book in online. So if you were so when I went, we didn't know, but we went into the Ocean Club, into the reception here, round about here it is. We booked in, and then I started walking into the complex because I thought, he said, I'll take you to your apartment. I thought he was going to take me through here. He said, oh, no. And we had to go out here onto the road, and our apartment actually was up round up over this way somewhere. But they're still called Ocean Club apartments because it's the Ocean Club that rents them out for people. Oh, honestly, I feel like I've had to explain this till I'm blue in the face. But these actual apartments where Madeleine and the family were staying, they're not inside that complex. That complex has no apartments. It's a pool, a paddling pool, tennis courts, the bar, reception thing, and there's a wall all the way around it. Oh yeah, and if you go this way, there's another road at the side. So you could go up there and out around that way to these apartments. If you were staying in one of these apartments on the left, you'd have to go out. I don't know if there's another exit there because the main entrance is here. So you might have to even go up there, round there to get into these apartments. So, let me just take that off. So what do we think of this new thing? Is it new? Well, it's not supposed to be new. It's supposed to be something that came up ages ago, but now suddenly everyone's talking about it again. The thing is, as soon as, what's the word? As soon as anything comes up again, like a new search, all these other things come up again, don't they? So it's like there's a resurge of interest in Madeleine. Maybe nobody talks about Madeleine's case for a while, and then this has brought it all to the surface again, hasn't it? All the different things. But what we've got to remember is everything that's being brought up again now has already been brought up before, and nothing came of it. We need new things. new things. You know, we need. I mean, I feel 100% Maddie is in that area somewhere. Could feel her everywhere around me, and I think that's why Jerry and Kate go back there every year, or certainly Kate does. It's like a pilgrimage because they know she's there. %, they know she's there. So I'm reading the chat now. So try to explain it as best I can. I think because I've been there, that's how I really feel. I don't understand why any media person who's actually been there and seen where that apartment is and how it's not on the complex, and you know how they cannot think that these people were negligent. At the very best, they were negligent and they should have been held accountable for that. They let this little girl down, and they let the twins down, and they're lucky that they didn't lose all their children, to be honest. Because if Christian Bruckner, or what if it was him and someone else broke in there, took away the 3 children? You know, it's just ludicrous to think they would just take away 1 child, I think, you know, instead of taking away the 3 of them. So I think, yeah, if it's true what the McCanns are saying, I think Sean and Amelie are lucky to be alive. And don't forget that Kate went running out the apartment and left the twins in there, shouting, "Oh, they've taken her," left her twins in there. The twins apparently slept through everything. Well, we know why maybe that was, or we think we do. And then, again, you know, going on to what happened afterwards, they continued to leave those twins in that kids' club, even though one of their children had been abducted. Just would not let your other children, if it had happened, how could you ever let your other children out of your sight ever again when one of your children's been abducted? They were going off running and you know, just carrying on their routine, flying all over the world to have interviews with Oprah or to see the Pope. It's not normal. Sorry, it's not normal. But they've never been held accountable for the way they treated those children. Never. Never been held, and never even admitted that they were negligent. So that's what makes it difficult for me to feel sorry for them, because they're not even acknowledging that they did anything wrong. Anyway, so I think I'm going to leave alone the Madeleine McCann case, because I feel like I'm always just explaining the same thing over and over again, but nothing's getting anywhere. Just, you know, will anything, I mean, I would love it if tomorrow the German police say, "Oh yeah, we couldn't say anything about it so far, but actually we have found something to incriminate Christian B." I would love that. I would love this case to be resolved. But I just don't feel that it's going to happen. I don't think for a minute that Madeleine got out of the apartment and was run over, and some German woman put her in her car and took her home to her husband and said, "Look, we've got to dispose of this child's body." And they took her to the sea and threw her in the sea. I don't believe that for a minute. Yeah, do you know, it's interesting you say that, Laurie, because do you think we're at a point now where we won't believe anything? You feel like they could show you a skeleton of Madeleine and we won't believe it was her, because we've been told, the British public especially, but the international public, because this is an international case, I've been told so much crap over the years, and, you know, they've invested in, you know, caring about Madeleine and wanting to know what had happened to Madeleine, you know, all these years. And that's been encouraged by the McCanns. never feel bad about talking about this case because they wanted everybody to talk about it when they were collecting money and stuff like that. So, most of the publicity about this case has come from them. But now we've come to a point where people are fed up of it because they feel like they've been led. So I'm trying to think of I can't think of a similar case than this. People feel like they've been led up the garden path and nobody's telling them the truth. So as you say, even if something came out now, you think that people would look on it, skeptically, because there's been just so much. But the people I feel sorry for are Sean and Emily. They've got to live with this and they never did anything. And this was their sister. They'll always be known as the siblings of Madeleine McCann. That's just the way it's going to be. And in my opinion, whoever took Madeleine or did anything to Madeleine, fundamental blame does lie with the McCanns, because it was the McCanns that left their children alone. And that's bottom line for me. If they wouldn't have left their children alone in that apartment, nothing would have happened to Madeleine. They should have taken those children out with them like normal families do when they're on holiday. They hadn't seen them all day. I mean, they were in the kids' club all day and they were left in the apartment alone all night. When did they actually spend any time with their children? Anyway, there you go. So I'm off and I'm going to have a Chinese later. Going for a nice Chinese. I'm really looking forward to it. So I've not been for a Chinese for ages. It's always nice to have a meal put in front of you, isn't it, that you've not had to cook. So I hope you're all having a nice Saturday, and I hope you enjoy your weekend. I hope you're looking after yourselves, and do what makes you happy, because you know what, it's a very short life, this. But for Madeleine, it was the shortest that it could be, almost, wasn't it? And not for anything she did wrong. Okay, I'll see you really soon in the next video. I've still got on my list, I've got this list somewhere that I've lost, where I've been going through things that I wanted to talk about on the channel. Still got about 8 things left. No, maybe not 8. But I will plough my way through them. I'll see you soon. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. I'm going to put my little song on. My little banner up. So yeah, take care, be nice to each other, and may your God go with you. Bye.